you now have Amazon Web Services, a multi-billion-dollar company whose sole purpose is to make sure stuff like this pretty much doesn't happen, because if it does happen, they lose business to Google Cloud, to Microsoft Azure, to everyone else is out there that's ready to take down Amazon. They spend more on IT security than a bunch of these Fortune 500 companies that were affected, who spent entirely on their IT combined. Like, it's not even close. They'll spend billions of dollars to prevent this stuff from happening, and have risk mitigation factors when there is a breach to make sure they get up online and something like this doesn't completely shut them down. You have that ally in your corner. So if you're not seriously looking at moving over to Heroku, moving some of your key mission critical apps over to Heroku, like, you're making a mistake. And now, Justin, because we're like, hey, wait a minute. Like, if I just put all my eggs in the Salesforce Heroku basket, how does that solve my problem? What if they get compromised? What if this happens? And so I'm going to pass the ball back to you. And so you could talk a little technical, don't go too deep, but why this whole vertically, like, I think you called it a vertically integrated solution.
Integration for IT.
Vertical integration for IT. Why these systems that did go down was so dramatic, and why they weren't able to recover quickly, whereas if they were on a Heroku Salesforce solution, they could. Justin, go.
So rather playfully, I'm going to say this comes down to understanding your core competency as a business, and I'm going to call it the Spider-Man principle. With great power comes great responsibility. So a lot of traditional IT mindsets come from this idea of, like, I want to be able to control and micromanage every layer of my IT. And this plays into this idea of CrowdStrike, because CrowdStrike as a security vendor, you're still looking at, like, as an example, a CrowdStrike customer would have laptops, desktops, computers deployed with this CrowdStrike Falcon platform deployed on them. Then they might have their identity servers for, like, single sign-on and for their Active Directory and everything deployed with the Falcon platform on them. Their custom-built applications and servers deployed. And let's assume this is all on, like, Azure, running on Windows virtual machines that each have these things installed. What you've done is you've set this up where you're like, oh, I have a need, identity for my employees. But rather than just having an identity solution, you set up a Windows machine, full on OS level access and control with security that you've had to implement, and then with the identity solution deployed in it. You have the same security provider on your server and on your clients. So this Windows specific failure is now causing a server outage and a client outage. So it's not just like, oh, specific people can't access your thing through specific devices. It's like the service is down.
Well, and it's so down for because normally what would happen, and sorry to interject, normally what would happen, let's say like a bunch of clients like get wiped out by this, right? And not that it would be no big deal. It would still be a 911 fire alarm. Like, IT guys are going to be up until midnight, like troubleshooting and whatnot. Yeah. But what would happen, it's like, all right, we're just going to forget these machines. We're just going to re-image them with the most recent backup. Boom, it's solved. We're just going to direct hardware. We're just going to take care of it. Like that's what you'd do. And you would do that mostly remotely. Like, you'd have low-level remote access before the machine boots to Windows. You just get in there, like, disable stuff and just re-image the whole thing. Yep. But they couldn't do that because the server was upside down and stored the images.
Oh, dude,
So they had to have these guys, they had to deploy their entire IT security staff to go in there to fix the server first before they can even go to the clients, like, and do that. And so they had to deploy everyone, like, around the clock to unravel this problem. Once they figured out what actually happened, too. It wasn't just
there's a couple things.
Yeah. It's like, hey, the client
that make this worse.
Right over it, you know?
So the industry is affected by this. Like you said, this is airlines. This is banks like Wall Street.
Yeah.
These people don't make money on Windows IT. Like, they're not making their money deploying these servers, deploying these devices. This is operational support.